Hi. So, tonight's book is, by your request, Mr. Seahorse by Eric Carle. This book won the Laura Ingalls Wilder Award. Not quite sure what that means, but it won an award. All right. It means it's a good book. That's what it means. All right, sweetie, let's read it together. Mr. Seahorse. Mr. and Mrs. Seahorse drifted gently through the sea. Mrs. Seahorse began to wiggle and twist, this way and that. She's wiggling. Don't know what that means. Okay. It's time for me to lay eggs, she said. Can I help? Asked Mr. Seahorse. Oh, yes, thank you, said Mrs. Seahorse. And she laid her eggs into a pouch on Mr. Seahorse's belly. I'll take good care of our eggs, said Mr. Seahorse. I promise. Oh. She's putting the eggs into Mr. Seahorse's belly. I wonder what's going to happen. Ooh. Let's find out. As Mr. Seahorse drifted gently through the sea, he passed right on by a group of trumpet fish hidden in the patch of reeds. Look at this. You see them? Here's Mr. Seahorse. There's trumpet fish. Can you see them in there? Let's see. If we can turn the... We can show you. Let's see. Oh, there they are. We found them. Those are trumpet fish. But before long, Mr. Seahorse met another fish. How are you, Mr. Stickleback? Asked Mr. Seahorse. Delighted, Mr. Stickleback replied. I just built a nest, and right away, Mrs. Stickleback laid her eggs into it. Now I am taking good care of them until they hatch. Keep up the good work, said Mr. Seahorse, and he swam on his way. Well, that's Mr. Seahorse, and that's Mr. Stickleback. He laid a nest, and he's taking care of her eggs until they hatch. Ooh, that's fun. Okay, let's see. As Mr. Seahorse drifted gently through the sea, he passed right by a lionfish hidden behind a coral reef. Can you see him? That's Mr. Seahorse. You see the lionfish? Maybe if we go like... Oh, there he is. We found him. That's a lionfish. But before long, Mr. Seahorse met another fish. How are you, Mr. Tilapia? Asked Mr. Seahorse. Mr. Tilapia couldn't answer. His mouth was full of eggs. Ooh. I know, said Mr. Seahorse. Mrs. Tilapia laid her eggs. Now you are taking good care of them until they hatch. Mr. Tilapia nodded his head. Mm-hmm. You must be very happy, said Mr. Seahorse, and swam on his way. Oh, you see the fishy? He has a fish in his mouth. Got the babies in his mouth. He has to hold them until they hatch. Wow, ain't that something? Boop. As Mr. Seahorse drifted gently through the sea, he passed right by a pair of leaf fish hidden among the seaweed. Can you see them? I don't think so. How about we do this? There's the leaf fish. There they are. Hi. Hey, leaf fish. Hey, girl. But before long, Mr. Seahorse met another fish. "How are you, Mr. Curtis?" asked Mr. Seahorse. "Perfectly fine," replied Mr. Curtis. "Mrs. Curtis laid her eggs, and I have stuck them on my head. Now I am taking good care of them until they hatch." "You are doing a good job," said Mr. Seahorse, and swam on his way. Wow. Look at that. It's on his head. They're on his head, Sam. Wow. Wow. If you can't see the pages, I'm sorry. This book is so big. You see this book? It's so big. It's bigger than my face. As Mr. Seahorse gently drifted through the sea, he passed right by a stonefish hidden behind a rock. Oh, can we see him? I don't think so. Let's see if we can do... There he is. Wow, he's a big guy. Look at that. That's a stonefish. Wow, he's awfully big. Wow. But before long, Mr. Seahorse met another fish. She's meeting the whole ocean today. "How are you, Mr. Pipe?" asked Mr. Seahorse. "Couldn't be better," replied Mr. Pipe. "Mrs. Pipe laid her eggs along my belly. Now I am taking good care of them until they hatch." "You should feel proud of yourself," said Mr. Seahorse, and swam on his way. Wow, look at that. That's Mr. Pipe. See those little dots? Those are all the eggs on his belly. Wow, isn't that something? Look at that. Look at that. All the daddies are carrying the babies. It's a little funny. Oh, I think we missed one. No, we did not. But before long, Mr. Seahorse met another fish. "How are you, Mr. Bullhead?" asked Mr. Seahorse. "Tip-top," replied Mr. Bullhead. "Mrs. Bullhead laid her eggs and the eggs hatched. Now I'm babysitting." "You're doing a fine job," said Mr. Seahorse, and swam on his way. Wow, look at all those fish. Look at the fishies. There's so many. Wow, look, wow, I can't even get them all in one picture. Wow, look at those fish. Wow. That's awesome. All right, look at the colors. The time had come for the Seahorse babies to be born. Mr. Seahorse wiggled and twisted this way and that. At last, the babies tumbled from Mr. Seahorse's pouch and swam away. One baby turned around and tried to come back into the pouch. "Oh no," said Mr. Seahorse. "I do love you, but now you are ready to be on your own." Wow. Look at the seahorses. Look at them all. How many do we see? I'm going to point to them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There's 12 in there. Oh my goodness. Look at them all. Look at Mr. Seahorse. Look at all those fish in there. All the seahorses are born. That's awesome. And that's the end. All done. I hope you liked reading this book with me. I can't wait to read another one very soon. Mwah. Bye.